Hello, wonderful. How are you today? I wanted to share with you today an empowering way of reading oracle cards. And I'm currently on my travels. Behind me is the guest house room of the place I'm staying at in Mount Shasta, California. And over the New Year's, I came across this wonderful way that I haven't heard much about before, and a very beautiful, empowering way of reading oracle cards or using oracle cards that really helps you to build the trust in your own inner guidance and while at the same time using the cards that are available for you. So, to tell you more about how it works, I just wanted to remind you about how oracle cards are traditionally used. So, first, you might know already that with oracle cards, you have some traditional predefined spreads. So, sometimes it's just one card, sometimes it's three cards in in a sequence. One is representing past, then the middle one would be present, and the next one would be future. And then sometimes there are spreads of 5 cards or more cards, and each card has a predefined meaning. So what's left of you is just to hold the cards, put them out there, and then when you turn them around, you're told the meaning of the cards. So the new way, the empowering way that I suggest for you to try is when you actually ask the card, you hold the card and you ask the card, what is it, what kind of meaning it's holding for you today, yeah, to answer your question or to answer your inquiry. So for example, how it would work, first of all, you have a deck of cards, and at the moment I'm using a really awesome deck, the Enchanted Map by Colette Baron Reid, and it's a really beautiful deck, really beautiful images you might be able to see, very magical and enchanted indeed. And I really love this deck because, well, it's in a way it's a deck of a traveler and adventurer, and it's got really beautiful, empowering messages as well. So, coming back to how to read the cards in an empowering way, you would shuffle the cards like you would normally do, and you would hold them next to your heart, and you will ask the question, whatever question you have in mind at that moment. So when I did it, it was 1st of January, and I asked the question, what my year is going to look like. And actually, as I asked the question, the guidance came through to me that you don't really need to know these answers right now, which I found really amusing, and it's a good reminder for us as well that we don't necessarily need to know all the answers. It won't necessarily help us. So if you ask the question and your inner guidance, or you have a sense that that's not really the question you need to ask right now, follow it. Yeah, you don't necessarily need to push the cards to give you an answer to the question you don't really need to hear. And so then I changed my question to simply asking, what is it I need to know right now going forward? And then I shuffled the cards, and I picked a card, and I put it on the table or on the floor, wherever you were doing it, and I decided what was the meaning of this card. So I tuned in into my heart, I tuned in into my inner guidance, and asked, what is this card? What is it going to represent for me? And I heard, or I felt, the meaning of it was going to be my strengths, which I thought was beautiful because it's good to know what your strengths are going forward. And then I pulled the next card and I held it to my heart, and I asked, what is the meaning of this card? And it told me that that's where my intuition is going, my inspiration is going to come from. And then I pulled another card, and this card I was guided to name as something important that I'm overlooking, something important that I'm not paying attention to at this moment, that I should be. And then I felt that I wanted to pull another card. So I pulled another card, and my intuition was telling me that this would be something that will help me find the right contacts to make things happen going forward. And it was really beautiful and quite interesting to read what meanings I received. So the first card that was supposed to be my strengths turned out to be goblins. So that was quite a funny one, because goblins traditionally is the things you don't like about yourself, the things you'd rather put far away into a black box and forget about them. So things that you'd rather not think about, and you're not too happy in yourself. And this was a beautiful reminder, because often the things we don't like about ourselves are actually our greatest strengths. So that was really a beautiful perspective shifter for me at that moment. And the next card I pulled where I was going to get my inspiration from, and I got the dragon lair. So that's the place where dragons live. And indeed, I've been reading at that time Harry Potter, so with lots of dragons and mystical and magical creatures. So that was a really beautiful helper for me to where to get my inspiration from the magical world. And the next card, that was my question as to what is it I'm overlooking at, something important. And the card I got was Sacred Pool. And Sacred Pool meant self-love, meant looking after yourself, spending time with yourself and giving yourself the nourishment and looking after that we need. And this is never enough of a reminder for us to know that we need to love ourselves. And so that was a beautiful reminder for me to make sure I don't overlook giving myself enough love and appreciation. And the last card that I had was what would help me in getting connected with people or organizations that will be able to help me in my visions this year. And the card I received was Details. And the explanation of this card was obviously paying attention to signs and messages, and actually taking the steps and acting on my intuition. So that was a beautiful reminder. So of course, paying attention, looking around me, and not overlooking what my heart is telling me. So that was a really beautiful first attempt of mine to read cards in this new empowering way, and I found it a lot of fun. I found it to be really inspiring, because you don't only rely on whatever others predefine the cards would be, but you can choose, you can feel what is it the cards are trying to tell you at that moment. And the good thing is as well, you can feel how many cards you want to lay out. So it can be just one, it can be 3, it can be 5, it can be 6. Whatever your intuition is telling you, it may lay out a beautiful story to you. And also, often, a good thing is when you receive a card, for example, goblins, before you go and read in the book what is the meaning of this card, you can also tune in and see what it means to you. What is it you see in this card? What kind of images or sensations it brings up for you? This is the method we are often taught in spiritual development classes, when we are taught quite nice methods on how to develop our clairvoyance or clairsentience or other senses, psychic senses that we all have. So it's a beautiful way, once you're tuned into your heart and once you ask the question, and when you receive the card, you just look at the card and you see what is it you actually see in this card before you go off and read the actual explanation of the card. And I'm holding goblins here, so it would be a good message for all of us to remember that the things we don't like about ourselves always turn out, and I'm saying always, not often, but always turn out to be our greatest gifts. And I know this from my experience. I've definitely experienced a lot of this in my life. So I hope you enjoyed this little sharing of mine about a new way of reading cards that actually helps you to develop your intuition, your senses, and empowers you to trust your feelings, to trust your imagination and the messages that come through. So I encourage you to give it a go and have fun. And if you'd like to, you can post your comments how it went for you at the bottom of the video. Thank you very much, and I hope you had fun. Bye.